Alright, so welcome back to the live. I had to start over the live due to, my figures on the board, something that I want to share. But as we are coming back into the live video, today I am really excited to share some additional information concerning Bitcoin, concerning cryptocurrency. Of course, you would have been seeing me sharing this information, be it via my podcast, via stories, posts on Instagram, Facebook, you name it, right? And so today is actually a historical day. It's a historical day simply because Bitcoin has, for the first time in its 11 years, Bitcoin has hit an all-time high new figure, right? And so we are excited. All of us who are invested in Bitcoin, all of us who earn Bitcoin, who have Bitcoin somewhere in our wallet, we are smiling today, right? And we can clearly see that Bitcoin is doing exactly what it's supposed to do. And so I would just share that little bit of information in terms of what it is supposed to do, what it is doing, and possibly where it is going. And then I'll be done, right? So, of course, Bitcoin is cryptocurrency. For those of us who may not have tapped into this digital currency yet, it's basically online money, right? Because that's the way the world is going. We have issues faced when we have dollars and coins, notes and coins, which we call fiat, F-I-A-T. Fiat currency has a lot of problems, especially in places, in African places where, or like Venezuela and Zimbabwe and these places that just print a set of money. See, the problem that we have when we deal heavily in fiat is that you have inflation taking place, and of course the value of that dollar, that means the value of that dollar goes down, right? So the same $100 you have today will purchase a lot less items tomorrow. You can realize that, as we all know here. As soon as you crack $100, it's basically done, right? So there are several problems with fiat, including its transport, its mobility, right? We all know, or those who travel, you will understand that when you travel, you have a certain amount. You cannot travel with a certain amount of money without declaring it, right? And having to pay some taxes on that income, right? I'm not going to get into the exact figure, but we have problems in terms of that. In terms of security as well, if you travel around, we have those problems right here in the country. If you travel with heavy sets of money, right, you risk being robbed, right? If you leave any set of money in any vehicle, they always advise against that. So we have those kind of problems. Not only do we have those problems, the problems that also exist with fiat currency is the fact that, you have a lot of fees. If you use money like MoneyGram and Western Union, and you have to transfer this money from person to person, you have very high fees, right? And so these are some of the issues that we face with fiat. Of course, I'm not going to get into all the issues. With this in mind, cryptocurrency was born, right? One of the other key issues, of course, I have to mention this. One of the other key issues that we had with fiat currency is the fact that there are several people around the world, including in Trinidad and Tobago, who cannot access the banking system. They cannot get a bank account, right? Even right here, if you do not have a letter from OJT stating that you're going to be receiving money, you do not have a job to say that your money is coming, you do not have a business registered to say where your money is coming from, you more than likely may be denied from having a bank account. So Bitcoin and cryptocurrency was definitely created to solve the problem of the unbanked, those who couldn't get access to having a legitimate form of, storing their money securely, right? So that's major, because we have, even in other countries, millions of people, 1.4 million upward of people cannot access this banking system. I don't have the numbers for the Trinidad market, but it exists whereby you can't have it. If you lose your bank account and you happen to lose your job this year, it's pretty difficult to prove to the bank why you should have a bank account, which is not fair. But that's where we have Bitcoin, and that's where we have cryptocurrency. So we have a solution. It's not just a problem that we need to, cry about. So Bitcoin was created to solve the unbanked world, to limit those fees in terms of transferring from you to your friends, your family, from a job to their employees, etc. Right? It was also created, of course, to avoid that problem of printing money that happens with fiat, right? So what happened is that it was created by an anonymous person, right, by the name of Satoshi, right? And nobody knows who this person is to this day, and he made it in such a way that it's scarce. Now what happens with something that's scarce? Things that are scarce often have a lot of value, right? So from inception, there are only 21 million bitcoins that exist in the world, whole bitcoins. Now there are 21 million coins, 7 billion people. So now I want you to start to see that the ones who have bitcoin, whether whole bitcoin, a fraction of that bitcoin, I'll get to that just now, you are basically holding on to a treasure, right? And so any opportunity that you can have to grow it, compound it, earn it, invest in it, I will definitely keep reiterating that you should be paying attention to this because it's scarce, right? Now, getting into why we are so excited and why you should be excited as well if you have Bitcoin, and also I'm offering an inkling of hope because you can get Bitcoin. We can align you to an opportunity that you can get Bitcoin, but that's not the purpose of the live today. The live today is really just to break down some things that happen with Bitcoin over the years, including every 4 years. So Bitcoin is also called BTC. Those are the trading initials for the currency, right? It started in 2009 at basically 0.0008, right? No value first year. In 2010, when it actually started trading, it went from that red figure, which is next to nothing, to 8 cents. Again, I want you to imagine in 2010, 8 cents for a whole coin, right? We get into the excitement just now, why you'll understand why I'm so excited about this thing, right? Of course, a lot of us on this side of the planet didn't really understand, didn't really know. Some of us who actually knew, we didn't make a move, right? And that's the next key point inside there. Sometimes we are afraid to step out, but we business people who are on my live right now understand that we need to take risks, right? We need to step out, we need to be pioneers, we need to be first movers because we have the advantage when we do that, right? So in 2010, 8 cents, and then between 2009, 2010, 2011, and 2012, Bitcoin started to do something amazing. This figure you have here is $1,180. Of course, these are rough figures, but understand that from 8 cents, about 4 years in, after a particular event, which I'll get to, $1,180 US we're talking about, right? And that's because Bitcoin has a system in it, or something called, an event called the halving, right? Some people call it the halving, but it's the halving. And all that simply means is that the reward that miners get for building the system out, right? I won't get into the technical terms, it's cut in half, right? The amount, right? So the reward is cut down, and the circulation of such is also cut in half. So that in itself, that event in itself shoots the price up, and it happens every 4 years, right? So keep that in mind. The halving happens every 4 years. So another kind of scarcity thing happens, and that's what showed the price. So in 2012 we had it was at 1180. So we had 2013, between 2013, 14, 15. It was fluctuating because the price movement of these things, it go up, it go down, it go up, it go down, but over time it's still on an upward climb, right? So between those other years, after the first halving when it was 1180, it was all around 600, and then in 2016, which would have been a next 4-year period for the halving again, it was around 2800, right? So you're seeing from a simple 8 cent investment, that's a simple 8 cent purchasing of Bitcoin. One halving 1180, the second halving 2800, right? What were you doing in 2016, right? It was there. Still, a lot of us didn't have a clue, but we had people, and we always use this example. There were people who threw in $10 US worth of Bitcoin. They threw in $100, $1,000, and just left it there. Of course, these people are smiling to this day. But let's continue the breakdown, right? So after 2016, of course, the next halving was this year, 2020, the year of the pandemic. In May of this year was the most recent halving. So of course, in the year of the halving, or just after, you can expect big moves. And as a matter of fact, I am forgetting here because I didn't highlight it. So we had the halving before this year. We had the halving at 2,800 in 2016, and just 1 year after, by the November December of 2017, Bitcoin did some seriously groundbreaking things. It moved over time from that 2,800 figure up down, but it then went to $19,800. So imagine that. You know, these people here are smiling. These people here are smiling. Even if you got in 2015, 2014, you would have been smiling and excited as we are today, because this is a ridiculous figure. Now, this blows, in my humble opinion, this blows real estate out of the water, because within these few years, the percentage increase is out of this world. No policy can do this. No bank account savings could do this. No check-ins account could do this. I have seen the mutual funds offerings of the country. I've seen all types of fancy funds, and none of them touched this kind of increase that is going on here. So that was the all-time high. Everybody went crazy, right? Bitcoin went to 19,800 and something, right? Of course, I'm just using a broad figure here. And so, of course, it fluctuated because I told you, these things have a dance. It has an up and down dance, but over time, the value goes up. So don't be afraid. You see Bitcoin at 19K in 2017, and then it went back to 10. At the end of the day, that's excitement. Reason being, because we understand, or at least you should understand, that when Bitcoin dips, it's like a pullback car. Remember them pullback cars for Christmas? You pull it back, play to launch forward. That's what happens with these things. So what we do is we buy when the price dips back down. That's your opportunity. That's your call to get into this thing, right? Because it's going up again. All right, let's prove that. So we had the all-time high in 2017. That was 1 year after the halving. This year, May, we had a halving. Yes, we didn't see. Of course, we were also attacked by this COVID-19 pandemic, right? So we didn't see anything exactly around May, but of course the investors know, and the people who are more versed in this thing understand that not because the halving happened in May means that by June, July it's supposed to do something, or else it's flopped. Definitely not. And we see that now, right? Because this morning, right, while I was just relaxing, I happened to see a status from, as a matter of fact, I'm not sure if he's on the live, but I happened to see a status from Mr. Kwasi. And Mr. Kwasi just said, check the price of Bitcoin. So automatically I pulled out my app and I logged in, and I realized Bitcoin was saying at the time 20,600 and something, right? Now, bear in mind, it was at the highest it ever reached in history in 2017. That was 3 years ago, was 19.8 something. So the minute it goes to 20,000, you are now breaking a record, right? The Guinness World Book of Records could be recording this all now because it's really historical, right? So I saw it at 20,006. Before I started this live, I checked back again and I saw 20,008. So what we're realizing is that it validates the halving information. It is validated here again, in that the price moved even to an all-time high, and it's expected to do even better than this. So of course you're seeing why it is, I would say, this is an asset that you need to be getting in. Everything, the world is going digital. As a matter of fact, if you are not registered yet for the Sunday event on digitization, please message me, so I'll give you the link, because you do not want to miss this, right? So the halving happened this year. We are seeing that we broke through the highest ever price, which is excitement. And then we have something to look forward to, as I said, because in the near future, in the next 4 years, there will be a next halving, right? And so we have the analysts, we have those who predict. They are wondering to themselves, they are estimating that Bitcoin could possibly see a value of 50,000. It could possibly see a value of 100,000. There are people who estimate that this scarce asset could even reach $1 million. Now imagine if you got in here, and the point I want to make is this: don't be dismayed because you're seeing the high cost. This is in US dollars, right? Don't be dismayed because you can buy fractions of a Bitcoin, which those fractions are called satoshis, right? You can buy how much ever your pocket could reach at the point in time. Or for those of you who know me, I am involved in something whereby you can earn this thing weekly, right? And have it compounded until eventually you have the value of a whole one. So if you only have 100 US at the time, you can throw that in. If you have 50 US, you can throw in 50 US worth of Bitcoin or whatever you have in your savings, because really and truly fiat is going down. This is still on its way up. It's on a bull run. That's the jargon, right? So you still have time to get in. And so if you put in 100 US today, you could just top it up next month when you get paid again, or if you come into some money end of year bonuses for some people who still have their jobs are coming. What are you going to do with it? Are you going to put it to sit in a bank account to be eroded, for the value to go down, for inflation to take over, and you can't get as much things as before? Now, the next thing too I wanted to make note of, you don't want to judge Bitcoin based on what its acceptability in Trinidad and Tobago, because we know even in the theater business we get everything late on this side, right? And hence the reason why a lot of us would have missed that thing in 2010 when it was 8 cents. In 2010 I was already an adult, and many of us on the live would have been adults already at 2010, but we didn't know, right? And we missed. So we don't judge it based on who accepts it here, because that is happening as we speak. There's a hardware that accepts BTC. The first place I knew that ever accepted BTC was Trotters. So you could probably still, well, restaurants are in a little bit of a problem, but you could have bought your meal with Bitcoin at Trotters. There are several other places. As a matter of fact, in my transportation business, I accept Bitcoin. So if you want to go somewhere, I will gladly take Bitcoin, because I understand its value, and I hope that as people come on this live, as you're listening now, I know a lot of people are in work, not expecting much people to be viewing, but if you're getting this hot off the plate, I hope you're excited just like I am, right? Because we have an asset whose value is definitely going up. We are seeing it happening just as it is supposed to happen, and of course the sky is the limit. All right, because this thing is scarce. Let me just reiterate: 21 million coins, 7 billion people. And let me just say something as well. In the beginning, or just several years ago, even just last year, we would have had the big firms that make big decisions in the financial world, JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley, etc., etc. We had some of these people who were actually criticizing Bitcoin. We have people positively saying that Bitcoin's price, quite back when it was somewhere in these years here, laughing and saying that Bitcoin would go right back to zero and it would crash and all kind of thing. But some of these companies, you know what they are doing now? They are doing over their business model to accept clients that are dealing with cryptocurrency. They want a piece of the pie. PayPal is one of those companies. PayPal is finding a way now for their clients who were originally sending fiat notes, dollars and cents, right, to now buy and sell cryptocurrency. Bitcoin being the number one. If you want to know about cryptocurrency, just go to coinmarketcap.com. Look at the currencies of the world, over 600. But I deal specifically in the number one currency, because I'm not dealing with second place and third place, although that's good too. I deal with the number one cryptocurrency in the world, because I understand it's the future, it's the one making the most waves, right? And so before you know it, in the next, even if it's 4 years, 5 years, that will fly in a wink. And before you know it, that will be the currency. That will be the thing. That could be the thing that could take you from, a kind of month-to-month lifestyle to a lifestyle where finances is no more the top of the list. You can buy things without watching price tags, right? Because I bet you that Trinidad is going to get in that direction as well, right? A lot of people still kicking against it, but as I said, the big market movers internationally are finding ways to get on board with it. So definitely we are excited due to this new all-time high. Any channel that speaks about Bitcoin right now, they are going to be repeating that new all-time high. Bitcoin has hit a new all-time high, because it's history in the making, right? If it goes here, even though it might dance back and allow you some time to come back in, it will be shooting forward. And that could be 50,000, that could be 100,000. I am not here to tell you how much Bitcoin to have or how to position yourself, but I'm just at least telling you, at the least, invest, at the least get some Bitcoin, right? Get that digital asset. A lot of us, we cannot purchase real estate. Ever since I was young, I was always interested in real estate. And I'm glad that I'm making this video because it can serve as a testimony in years to come. It's not very easy for any of us to just go into a bank and say, hey, I want a mortgage. Even if it's for a piece of land. Even when we had opportunities, when I was working, I went to TTMF. They were having some kind of deal. And I was permanently employed with a decent salary, and I went to them. And I was only approved for about $400,000. What house on our Trinidad and Tobago market would I really get for that price? So it was virtually impossible. And that was at a salary that is not the common average salary of clerks and so on in the country right now, right? So it's difficult to get into such assets that could definitely, yeah, everybody know you could get rental money from that, and you could make this and you could make that, but how are you getting there? Bitcoin is the digital solution that allows you to still earn or still benefit from an asset appreciating in value in a very short space of time as well. It has retired, as I said, it has retired many people. Those people, 10 years ago, I saw a post and I posted it on my WhatsApp. 10 years ago, if you had put in $1,000 in Bitcoin, to the value that it is, not really today, but because the post was created a few months or something ago. But if you put in $1,000 in Bitcoin 10 years ago at the price it was at, by now you would be over 200 and something million dollars wealthy, right? So just imagine that, and we are still heading up. 20,008 is excitement now, but in the next 4, 5, 10 years, it's definitely going to be way more than that. And I just wanted to share that excitement, share that information to let you all know, that those who have Bitcoin, keep going, you're on the right path, and those who are resisting it, I urge you to pay more attention into it. Go on YouTube, get some information. Of course, not every little Bitcoin person you're seeing on Facebook individual, to just run after them. Go and look for the information from reliable sources, Forbes.com, investing.com. These are great resources that can give you information about the crypto. And of course, if you would like to know how to earn it, you might say, Leah, I do not have any money to buy it. I don't want to just buy a little $100 worth. What that could do, again, I told you, reach out to me. I have something special in the bag that could have you earn it, because as I said, just as companies are taking Bitcoin, companies are paying. There are certain opportunities paying in those Bitcoin fractions as well, right? And so I just want to see everybody at the top. And so I'm thankful for all of you all who are on the live. I will check comments after. I cannot see anything at the moment. But thank you for tuning in. And you can follow me all on my socials, Instagram, YouTube, and we're here on Facebook at Leah CL Moses. I even have a podcast whereby I'll be getting deeper into these kind of things, because I think it's things that we need to understand. It's a level we need to reach at, especially in the Caribbean, and especially as millennials, right? We need to set the tone. Of course, back in the day, the opportunity for our parents and our great grandparents and great-grandparents was to buy land, because it was affordable then. I will never forget the land Valsayn and such areas when it was $10,000. And sometimes you might wonder, where was my family when this was this price? Look at what price it is today. You can barely get in there, right? You don't want to be the generation that's wondering, or your offspring is wondering, where were my parents when Bitcoin was 20,000, 19,000? You don't want to be that, right? You want to set up things in such a way that you can make a brighter future, right? The reason, and I'll end off with this, the reason why a lot of us don't know our fifth great-grandparents, fifth level, great, is because they didn't leave anything for us, right? And of course, we know the greatest words is that a good man leaves something for his generation, right? In my own words. So let us pay attention to these things. Thank you for being on the live, and I'll see you next time in the next video.